Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Taking a quick look here again at ICP, seeing what's going on with the old internet computer here. And we're going to just talk about, I guess, big picture here. We're going to jump into the daily, kind of work our way down. Quick congrats again to our community members for some awesome swing trades here recently. What was it? We took profit this morning on, drum roll please, OP, Optimism 48%, and ARB at 87%. So some nice altcoins are pumping today, but some are also pulling back. So you want to be careful and aware that Bitcoin is kind of on this edge of, I wouldn't say disaster, but it keeps retesting this 43,500 mark. And every time it does, a lot of altcoins kind of knee-jerk reaction to selling off. So it's an interesting thing, but anyways, we'll get to that here in a minute. So if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. I love to teach people to trade. I hope you can learn something today. Keep in mind too, cryptocash.tech is a site where you can register for our premium group. And just to clarify really quick, these are swing trades. These are trades that I manually send out myself and monitor. The Premium Plus group is basically just a series of altcoins essentially. We have like 6 or 7 trading pairs that my trading bot will essentially trade for us. Okay, so again, it's basically going to find really good entries. It's a day trading bot, whereas I send out swing trades myself. Okay, so just to clarify, that's kind of the difference there. If you want to know how to utilize them both, Signal's guide is really good. It'll kind of give you recommendation and understanding how things work. So be sure to check that out to our new members coming over. We got a lot of new members here recently. ICP, daily time frame. Let's talk about the stochastic RSI trying to swing up but hasn't yet. Okay, now oftentimes it's the second swing we want to look for, so I think we got like a little bit of a false positive here today with the price action waking up. That doesn't mean the price is going to pull back per se, but we want to be mindful of breaking those trend lines and essentially establishing range-bound activity. So we're going to talk about that on smaller time frames, but MACD's trying to diverge here still. Had such a strong rise up that it's going to show that. So that's kind of a false positive. I wouldn't trust the MACD on the daily just yet. And then we can see stochastic RSI, correction, we already talked about that. Traditional RSI and money flow index bouncing off of 70. That's a really good sign. Okay, implying that we have somewhat of a support. And I always talk about 70 being a support level once you've broken through it on larger trend lines or larger ascending types of trends. Speaking of which, let's take a quick look here. We got this massive amount of liquidity here. It's mostly just a little bit left to sweep, so I wouldn't be surprised the price continues to wick up to retest this $12 range. Okay, very strong probability of that. In fact, just based on its history, we can see a little bit more money flowing back into this coin here as well, with money flow index and the RSI being up over 50. This is awesome. Last night we didn't have this luxury of saying that we're above 50 on the RSI. That's a very good sign. Just keep in mind, stochastic is swinging down, of course, to reflect the price pulling back, and we want to look for a second stochastic swing to the upside. So when this, basically the 12 intersects with a 26 in upward fashion there, we're going to be in good shape to see that swing upwards. Long story short is that we're probably in pretty good shape to bounce off this level here. So let's talk about that on the hourly because it's so much easier to see. So take a look here at the hourly. Let's go ahead and remove these guys here just to give us some quick perspective. First of all, I guess, here, let's just clarify here with the volume because this has changed a little bit. So we had a larger volume profile at a lower price point, which we still do, roughly about $9, as I mentioned last night. That's a somewhat of a volume support. We've got a secondary most amount at about $9 to $9.40. Okay, so that does help us understand that the price travels into this range. We should experience some kind of inevitable bounce based on there being a lot of volume. Okay, now I hate to use the word inevitable because it's not a guarantee, but it's a stronger probability we're going to stay above the price action because of that. Okay, so that's a good sign. You could argue the opposite price going up though too, right? Because we got some volume in the upper range. This could work as resistance. So you just got to be mindful of that. Anyways, the key takeaway here is we're seeing more money flowing into this coin. If we zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see it a little clearer. Not just this one candle wick, but generally speaking, the price action is tapering off, and we got to be mindful of that too. Okay. So good money flowing in, but there's also money flowing out at this point. It's an interesting little thing. When the price action though starts to average itself out as it did before, but we're above a support level, that's a really key takeaway here. So let's talk about that. We got this previous resistance here at about 945. That's close approximate. You can pretty much just see the range here. We can even go up a little bit higher here for this candle wick because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pretty much 11 or more attempts to break that level previously, and it couldn't succeed. Price comes down, blah, blah, blah. Eventually comes up and breaks this little resistance level, and now it's testing it as a support. Okay, so again, stronger likelihood the price should stabilize here and continue higher. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. But it's certainly a probability, and it's something we want to be aware of. Okay. Speaking of probabilities, let's talk about what I was referring to earlier with range-bound activity. So just to clarify, you've got three different phases in a trade. You've got descending trends, which we established here is already discontinued with the price breaking above this most recent high. Okay. Typically, it goes range-bound for some time, which it was. It was range-bound between $9 as a close approximate to $9.45, or just say $9.50 rather. So the price kind of range-bound here, so to speak. Once it breaks through that range, we can presume that the previous range is going to be the new support. Okay, so this level here at 955 is kind of a prime level to consider taking a trade. Now, if we combine that with each mobile cloud, we can confirm that we are free and clear of the price action, conversion line tentatively above the baseline, and lagging span is free and clear. There's a great chance we're going to see the price continue up from here. Okay. Now, is it a guarantee? Definitely not, but it's a larger statistical probability that it's going to go up than down. The only caveat here, and you got to recognize this, and it's important to recognize the correlation between these two coins, is that Bitcoin, if Bitcoin has a really bad day, which if you take a look at this here, look at these two candles, or these three candles, we saw a massive correction. From top to bottom in 3 hours was a 10% correction. You look at those same exact candles for Bitcoin, that was a 2% correction, okay? So we're looking at a 5x correction on ICP on the way down when Bitcoin had a bad little, just a little hissy fit, okay? Say Bitcoin drops to 43, 42, or 41,000. What do you think is going to happen with ICP? Okay, this support level is not going to matter. Okay, so just like to let you know that is definitely something you want to be aware of, which is all the more reason to use low leverage, low position size, so you can survive the ebbs and flows if the price does end up pulling back. Okay, so that's kind of my 2 cents there. I hope that makes sense. Again, all of our trades that I send out for my community, no more than 5 to 10x leverage. Typically, we 10x Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then like 5 to 7x for altcoins. Just to give you some thoughts there. Future reference as well, if you have used our link to register with Bitunix, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I get tons of positive feedback now. Again, no KYC, no VPN exchange. There is a nice reward right now, a Winter Wonderland scenario between now and the end of the year. Be sure to check that out. The link is in our Discord here under promos, so you can kind of check that out if you're curious. But simply put, it's a deposit bonus, and you basically get a bonus for depositing and essentially trading with the exchange. So be sure to check that out. That is linked as well down below. So hope that you learned something here today. Thanks again for watching. I greatly appreciate all the wonderful feedback from our ICP community. You guys are great. Guys and gals, thank you again so much. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.